I've done a good bit of research over the last number of months in relation to funding for traveller accommodation, and in response to the parliamentary questions that I received are absolutely shocking, unbelievable information has come back just in the last couple of weeks. In 2017, local authorities drew down €4.8 million of an allocation of €9 million. In 2018, local authorities drew down €8.6 million of an allocation of €13 million. In 2020, €14.4 million fund was drawn down, and all of it was drawn down, but no breakdown was given in relation to what counties actually drew it down. The system has changed, so some counties could have taken all of that down, and many other counties could have taken none. And I think that Minister Darragh O'Brien is one of the most capable ministers ever at altering, moving, or hiding statistics from the public view. In 2019, Donegal County Council was allocated €161,000 funding specifically for traveller accommodation. They did not draw down a cent of that funding. In Leitrim County Council in 2019, nothing was drawn down, despite an allocation of €178,000. Monaghan County Council in the same year withdrew not a cent. 100 of the €100,000 that was available. Wicklow County Council, the same, €104,000 available, but it was untouched in 2019. In 2018, Carlow County Council was offered funding of €167,000, but refused to draw it down. Likewise, Cork County Council was given €250,000, but didn't withdraw any of it. In Galway City of that year, the allocation was €176,000 and it remained untouched. In Westmeath, €150,000 was made available, but nothing was sought. Wexford saw a significant allocation of €500,000 for traveller accommodation, but it didn't withdraw any funding. In 2017, Galway County Council withdrew none of the €625,000 available. That's stunning information. And I can't think of funding for any other section of Irish society that would stay on the dusty shelf and would be ignored in the jaws of a housing crisis. In a situation where traveller accommodation throughout the state is in shocking condition. Because the topic of traveller accommodation is avoided at local political level in many cases. And it's absolutely shameful that many county and city councils around the country have returned funding which was allocated to construction and maintenance of housing. They've returned it to Dublin in the middle of a housing crisis. In total, €15.7 million, which a government offered to local authorities for housing in the last 5 years, has remained untouched. That fact speaks for itself. It's an astonishing figure. And while you might argue that this is not a government problem, that it's a local authority problem, I would argue that the political parties that are in charge of the Dáil are also typically in charge of the local authorities around the country. And at local level, I would also argue that there is an anti-traveller attitude that is leading, in some cases, to these decisions. That being said, I want to say that there are definitely people within the establishment parties, people like Deputy Eamon O'Queen from Galway, who is very strong in relation to traveller accommodation. And indeed, he was first to give out about the shocking burning of a house designated for a traveller couple in Galway. Deputy O'Queen stood up for that couple, and I know that the travelling community was very grateful for that. Every single day, my own office and offices and other representatives of Aontú around the country are contacted with regards families in homelessness. These figures are a slap in the face to each of those families. In my own county, there is a site called St. Patrick's Park, and I have to pay respect to Meath County Council for massive work that they have done just in the last couple of months, in the last, I suppose, 6 months in relation to trying to house many of the families living on that. But up until that period, the accommodation was incredible. You wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. Again, caravans and mobile homes were sitting on top of each other. You had electric wires hanging from one caravan to another, and water pipes running all over the place. And literally, in a situation that had echoes of Carrick Mines, you had a trailer that went on fire, and you had a fire engine and ambulance that had massive difficulty in getting to it, simply because the road was blocked with low-hanging electric wires. They simply couldn't go up. And given the fact that we had such a horrendous tragedy in Carrick Mines, that this was allowed to occur at a time when funding was available throughout the country, is absolutely wrong. I have read the report produced yesterday on homelessness and mortality, and it's shocking. 79 people have died in homelessness just last year, just in the city of Dublin. There's been in excess of 40 deaths this year so far. Think about that, 40 people have died just in homelessness in Dublin alone this year. I asked the Minister to investigate homelessness last year, and it's interestingly, he started to investigate it, but of course, he finished his investigation after the temperatures had started to rise in the city. And in the legacy of Owen Murphy, he started to question the figures itself, and he said that some of these people might have actually died from car accidents while they were homeless. This was an actual comment that the Minister for Housing actually said to a journalist on the matter. There is major spin happening here from the government, and I will say, I do have difficulty. There is the government and some of the opposition are a mirror image of each other. Both are using their ideological bias to prevent real housing solutions happening. We need to build for everybody in society, but we need to make sure that the funding that's available for travellers around the country so that they can have decent accommodation is drawn down and used.